Okay, here we go. Technically, this is episode 2, but this is the first one that we're creating new for facilitating a new paradigm. And it's amazing. The more I share that, I was preparing to put this together and start to share it. The kind of support that is showing up sort of blows me away. It all is on the same vein of, yes, let's share new stuff. It's time for new things to come out. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So, on behalf of all of us who know that, on behalf of all of us that have been itching and asking for sharing new things from a new perspective, a new vibration, here we go. This is facilitating a new paradigm, and it is a gift that I have to share from a higher frequency, from a higher vibration. So, where I want to begin today is just talking about the world of consciousness, how we've understood it, how we've been dancing in it, and what's the difference between an old paradigm and a new paradigm. Like, what are we talking about here? Because so many people absolutely feel different, and not everybody knows how to talk about it. And a lot of people have an idea how to talk about it or how they would talk about it, but there's like this fence or this block in between what you want to say and your ability to say it. Sometimes it's just vocabulary. You don't know the kind of words to use. And let's just throw it out there. We need new words. The words that we have, that we've brought forward from the ancients, the approach from a tribal level of awareness, the approach from being still on the inside, all of that has worked for thousands of years to get us to where we are. So thank you very much. And I mean that with all of my heart. And now where we are is someplace different. Where we are functions differently in a very real way. It's almost like there's a 180-degree shift in how we can walk through with total ease and grace all of the dense stuff, all the emotions, all of the confusions, all of the judgments that have been the things limiting humanity's expression. So you have this ability to walk through all of those things that seem so confining, and your ability is absolutely I'm not even going to say it linked. Your ability is of your capacity to see things for what they are, to see emotions for what they are, to see your awareness and your consciousness for what it is. And it's simple. So, this whole podcast is going to be support and guidance to assist you to see things for what they are, and not hold on, because the not holding on is what lets you just arise, lets the real you, the you that is that tonality, that vibrational being, the one who has so much support universally from all of consciousness, from realms of divinity, from angelic realms, from ascended host realms, and from off-planet realms, as well as, and this is the scary part, as well as from all of humanity. That's the part we've been holding ourselves separate from forever and ever. And that's the part that we have been encouraged by the powers that have tapped into consciousness and used it for domination, have built so many systems to encourage all of humanity to go for the divide and conquer, to go for separation. This is a time when there's so much space opening up dimensionally in between all the thought processes, all the belief systems, where you can actually feel very tangibly in your body. You can feel the presence of support from all of the etheric realms, from nature, from the planet, from off-planet support, as well as from humanity. I'm speaking about this because I'm walking through it and I get to share it. I have the capacity to share, so I'm sharing, and it's taken a while to get the courage to actually do what I'm talking about. But here I am, and thank you for being here, because you being here, showing up, asking the questions, whether you're asking me or just asking anybody around, you showing up, asking the questions is what opens the space for more of us that have the capacity to actually stand up and speak the words and use the language and open the conversation so more questions can happen, so more conversations can happen, and really just so you can happen, so that you can begin to find that the conduits through your own body so that what you want to say can come to the forefront, that it can come into words that just happen because they're there to happen. Not so much about getting it right, not so much about the guru paradigm, or do I deserve to be saying this if I'm not a big fancy teacher, if I'm not a professional, this or that or whatever. The answer is yes, please speak. Please speak. Please share what's in your heart. And the more you do start to see the truth of what other people's opinions mean. The more you start to see the truth of what the outside world wants from you. The more you get to see the truth for yourself of who you actually are and the enormous contribution you are, your presence is, your vibration is, your awareness is, just your awareness is an amazing contribution because you are a part of the whole. When I was about, I don't know, somewhere 12 to 14 years old, I was asking for the truth like gangbusters. I needed the truth. The outside world, my family, school, everything, it was insanity to me. It made no sense how people could say and do things that were so completely against their heart and then tell me they love me and then tell me to be myself, but not like that. I was in a world of insanity. And so I didn't know that who I was speaking to were my higher levels, my own divine levels. But I was asking, show me the truth. The truth. I want nothing but the truth because it was clear there were so many lies happening. And at the time, I didn't even understand that the lies were unintentional. I didn't understand that they were unconscious, but they were so inconsistent I couldn't take it. So in asking for the truth, I came to this place where I was looking around and watching every time I asked for the truth, what the truth felt like. It was kind. It was compassionate. There was no blame in any direction. There was no conflict in any direction. The truth always brought me back to this huge expansive sense within myself that everything's taken care of. On some level, everybody is connected. Everybody is operating from love. And it just is so confusing in the outside world. It made no sense to my mind. But every time I asked for the truth, more of that expansive sense of the truth came through with information and awareness, just a simple awareness of how everything fits together. And it just became more and more obvious that that expansive truth and my awareness of that truth was more important and more, impactful than going out and doing things correctly, going out and making sure everybody was happy. Now, don't get me wrong. I still spent years trying to make people happy because it was pretty confusing. But that awareness alone was like, okay, I get it. I could sit on my front porch swing and do nothing but watch the beauty of nature happen. And me doing that for the rest of my life because I was aware of what I was doing, that would have been more contribution than was ever even required of me in the first place. So that's the kind of stuff I want to share with you, how that all came about, and share with you tools and guidance for remembering that place within yourself and then walking through life on the planet, being that supported and being that presence of facilitation. Because really where we are right now is a totally new paradigm. We are stepping straight into a paradigm that does not require conflict anymore in order to function. So let's touch in on what an old paradigm is for a second, so that that can hopefully become a little bit more clear. The old paradigm has been eons and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and many versions of humanity, many versions of etheric support, many versions of off-planet races showing up to support and to disrupt. But it has been the consciousness of humanity working through evolution from a state of conflict, from a state of light versus dark, from a state of polarity, from a state of destroying oneself in order to know oneself. It's come from, the old paradigm has been about a consciousness of opposites. And how do we use opposites in order to figure out where we're going? How many walls can I bounce up against before before I see the open channel right in front of me? And it was taught and retaught and retaught, and it was reinforced. And in fact, the moment people, anybody, would start to step into the ease of, well, there it is, I'm going right to it, the mass consciousness, the belief systems, the way all of that consciousness of opposites, the consciousness of conflicts, the way that it would react was to throw in suggestions like, well, you better rethink that because you might have gotten it wrong and you don't want to be wrong. And or it would throw in conflicts and disruptions that would sound like, oh no, you are not one of the holy ones, so you cannot possibly be connected with that level of divinity. So, well, we're probably just going to pull your head off, but maybe we'll burn you first. Oh, the creativity of it all, I'm telling you. But so many of us have been through that, and so many of us actually fear that exposure because of alternate life streams that we have lived, and slash or alternate levels of awareness where we just know through every cell of our being that humanity has put itself through that kind of torment to avoid the ease out of this living and reliving this paradigm of conflict over and over and over and over. So where we're at now, that has brought us to a paradigm of a new paradigm, a paradigm that does not require conflict in order to know oneself, in order to transcend, in order to step into an evolution that is an evolution of consciousness beyond an evolution of a physical form, which will happen, but not for a while, because the physical form we have at the moment is pretty great. There will be evolution in the nervous system, that's for sure, because the nervous system will have to be restructured in order to carry the higher vibrations, and actually the entire physical form is being restructured into a more crystalline, or a crystalline form, because a crystalline form is what will allow the tonality of where we're headed in consciousness that does not require conflict. There's higher tones, higher vibrations, higher awareness that move at faster and faster and faster paces, that move with greater and greater and greater levels of data and information, and that actually are going to move away from processing and into fluidity. So that's more describing the evolution of humanity happening at different dimensional levels, expanded dimensional levels. But the 5 fingers, 5 toes, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth, that's working for us right now. So it's going to stay there for a while. But at the subatomic levels, we're moving into crystalline forms. All of that has come about because back on a linear time scale, back in the late 80s, nobody pushed the red nuclear button. And so humanity unanimously decided back around that time, it was like humanity on very, very high levels of consciousness was really rubbing sleep out of their eyes and going, wait a minute, what are we doing? We're gonna set off nuclear weapons and destroy ourselves again for the 7th time? Or wait, is it the 8th time or the 7th time? Wait a minute, let's do something different. When humanity rubbed that little bit of sleep out of its eyes, that was the moment that more light could pour in to the mass collective of humanity. It is happening. The change is happening, and it's been happening. So then fast forward to 2012, and many people were watching the shift of 2012 and all the alignments and all the harmonics that happened, that came together, that brought people, and it was happening in 2000 as well, when there was a huge scare about whether all of the computers would explode because of how the digitality of it was set up. But there have been these markers all along. And in 2012, there was so much awareness. I mean, if we had blown ourselves up, nobody would have been aware that we had all these planetary alignments. How cool is that? So in 2012, there was all this awareness happening. And people were paying attention. People were watching. Some people were panicking and saying, oh my gosh, Armageddon, we're about to die, and everything as we know it is dying. Well, the answer is yes. Everything as we know it is dying. Now, can we all just sort of, clink, make a toast to that? Because the way that everything that we had known wasn't working. So, hallelujah, everything we've ever known is dying. And all of the awareness that humanity had in 2012 has opened the way for more awareness. All of the alignments, even all of everything that looks so messy, so not pretty. When hurricanes happen, when tsunamis happen, when earthquakes happen, have you guys noticed how many people come together now to help each other based on those things? Have we all started to notice that people are more than ever, maybe not the ones who are leading the governments yet, and that is beginning. Look around. The ones who are leading governments are changing. Look around. But have we all noticed that there's this movement in and among the systems that go against the highest harmony of humanity? The people who are in those systems are starting to do things differently and come together differently and speak about things differently. That is because of all of the shifts in consciousness and awareness that have been brought forth through spirituality, through people waking up, through what we're calling ascension, awakening, and spirituality. Let's look at these things for what they are. They are doorways for who you are to arise into yourself, to share yourself at higher frequencies, to become more and more aware of how things have been built, what's working for you and what's not. Spirituality has been an amazing beginning, and to a great degree has turned into a religion of its own. But let's not buck that system either. Every single system can serve you if you're willing to transcend it, if you're willing to claim yourself and take a look at why that system was here in the first place. The system of using opposites, light and dark, good and bad, good and evil, polar opposites, that system has absolutely served to bring the awareness of humanity to a place where we can say, holy smokes, we don't have to do it that way anymore. We've transcended that system. Not everybody understands that yet. That's why we're going to be sharing and talking about this and giving everybody ways to actually walk through it, to facilitate you, to facilitate consciousness, to facilitate harmony, to facilitate presence, to facilitate kindness, because that is what works. We've been watching it for thousands of years, and now we're here. We can do it. We can enact it. You can step into that for yourself, and your contribution is enormous. You are an integral and what's the word? Uh, you're a part of the whole that if you weren't there, the whole wouldn't happen. You are that integral to the whole. And as you continue to walk your walk, to step forward, to claim who you truly are, the realms of light and divinity that are what animate your body, that are what inform your interactions on the planet, the more you integrate that and let your mind function by being informed from that source of you, as opposed to the outside world and a number of systems that are still functioning in an old paradigm of conflict. The more you open and let yourself be facilitated and supported by all of humanity around you, by your own higher levels, by various levels of divinity, by all of consciousness, you walking around as you is a presence of facilitation. As you allow yourself to have awareness and to be open to kindness and your innate expression, which maybe is kindness, maybe is something else for a while, but let's walk forward into a new paradigm that does work, a paradigm of harmony, where your contribution assists the whole. And the more of us that are walking through life aware of what we're doing, that completely amplifies the space for more harmony. It finds itself. Harmony is natural. Harmony is innate. Harmony is what our hearts have been calling us to, and it's part of why music with harmony sounds so amazing, because it speaks to us on a cellular level, on a universal level, on every level of consciousness. So the more you let yourself be facilitated simply by being aware that facilitation is possible, by being aware that kindness is possible, by remembering that who you are is an integral aspect of the whole, and having the courage to show up for it, having the courage to say, okay, if this is a new paradigm, show me. Show me a new paradigm. And show me how to walk through it, especially if you're starting to realize that conflict isn't getting it done anymore, that judgments aren't getting it done anymore. There's a lot of systems that have been taught for how to function in and among conflicts and how to manage judgments, how to manage emotions. But where we're going is freedom from judgments, freedom from emotions. It is the absence of both, the absence of conflict. So thank you for showing up for this episode to dance with me, and I'll look forward to sharing the next one with you. Stay tuned. It's really nothing but beauty and harmony and awesomeness, and we're all going. So we can go on the fast track or we can take the scenic route. You know, it's up to you. You get to go. Sometimes the scenic route is awesome, and sometimes, entertainment is fun. But the fast track is available. That's where I have the most fun. That's where I'm going. You're welcome to come with me, my friends. Have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.